So, all right, guys, we got to get this one right. On three, we're going to say, welcome back to Extraordinary Thoughts for the Ordinary Mind. 1, 2,
3. Welcome back to Extraordinary Mind.
And we back.
That'll work right there.
Yeah.
And we back. And we
Yeah.
And we back. And we back. And we
Y'all did y'all best. And that's all that matters.
What's going on, everybody? It's that ordinary podcaster with the extraordinary thoughts that tells you to stop being great and be extraordinary. I'm your host, Demetrius Thickpen, also known as Meech Speaks, and welcome back to another episode of Extraordinary Thoughts for the Ordinary Mind. Oh God, I'm hungover. No, but seriously. Definitely need to get my shit together. But once again, it's Friday. Definitely another UnFuk Yourself Friday. I've been really trying to debate on how I wanted to come at this episode. You know what I mean? Like, I really been trying to debate on how I would, in the manner in which I would speak on during this episode, how the energy I wanted to have during this episode, just because I know what this episode entails, and I just know how passionate I'm about to get about this. So once again, and I feel like I gave this brief back when we first started doing UnFuk Yourself Fridays, but this episode contains a lot of cussing. So if this isn't for you, I'll probably see you Monday and we can get right back into the motivation. But I don't know who needs to hear this, but we're not in fucking competition. We're not in competition with each other. And I say that so wholeheartedly, that I'm not in competition with any of you motherfuckers. Okay, that's not you in particular listening on your way to work or doing, whatever you need to be doing right now. But that's to whoever feels like they're in competition with me. You see what I'm saying? Like, I really need to free you of this burden. Like, I need to relinquish you of this burden that you feel that you are in competition with me. You are not in competition with me. And I this may sound arrogant, but to be honest with you, some of y'all be in competition with me, and I be sitting back wondering, like, what is it about me that made you think that I was at your level? like what was it about me that you perceived in your mind that we were at the exact same level? And that may sound arrogant. That may sound a little overconfident, like, yo, Meech, like, chill out. You letting this podcast get to your head. Yeah. But I really got to say that. And it was just a series of events this weekend. Social media, can always be a gift and a curse in my eyes. Social media is definitely a gift and a curse. And it's all about how you use it to determine whether or not that it's a gift or it's a curse. And, excuse me. And it seems like, like people reach out to me because, everybody can have access to you now. And everybody's always like, oh, I can do this or I can do that, or they tag me in this or they tag me in that. And, I have to sit back sometimes and think to myself, like, just because you have access to me, let me rephrase. Just because you have third party access to me doesn't mean that you have my attention. And I want to go on a rant of, like, some of y'all just don't got y'all shit together to be trying to compete with me. I really do. I really want to go on that rant. You know what I mean? Like, some of y'all, like, really, like, have barely gotten in the water that y'all see me at the deep end trying to swim at. Like, some of y'all, like, I was just swimming today. And I saw this guy in another lane, and the way he was swimming, I was watching him trying to mimic what he was doing. And that's kind of how I feel a lot of y'all are doing. You see what I'm saying? Like, you see me in one lane and you're trying to, let me stop taking me out of it. You see other people in other lanes and you try to mimic them. You're not in competition with them. How are you in competition with somebody else when you're barely winning the battle with you? Like, let me really break that down. You see what I'm saying? Is that, why are you trying to compete with somebody else when you have barely won the battle with you? You have barely mastered you, yet you're trying to compete with somebody else. You feel that somebody else is competition, yet it's up in the air between you all the time. Like I don't think a lot of people understand that. Let me rephrase. I don't think a lot of people have the maturity to understand the concept of this conversation, and they lack the experience to be able to provide insight on this conversation. But I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't know who needs to be freed by this, but you are not in competition with anybody. And you will hear people argue this shit all the time. Like people literally will go back and forth and argue this shit. Well, like it was literally one guy, and he gets on Instagram and he's telling me like, oh, that's a lie. You're supposed to be competing with somebody. I don't know who told you that, and I get it. I get it because of the environment that we live in. I get it. Because he wasn't even a fucking Marine. He was actually like a junior JR, ROTC, whatever. And I get it. You feel like, this alpha male mentality is to compete with somebody. I get it. You feel that this macho man, like whatever that you feel is what a leader is supposed to be, is somebody that competes amongst people, but that's not really it. See, the thing is that a lot of people get lost trying to compete with other people. I'm afraid that a lot of people lose themselves trying to chase after somebody else. That's not really the case. And, I sit back and I say that because I've been victim to that before. You know what I mean? Like I've been victim to the competition amongst other people and not with myself. Like rather than worry about fine tuning my craft, fine tuning the things that can make me better, I was more worried about fine tuning the things that I could use to beat you. And every single time I did that, I lost. You see what I'm saying? Like not in the sense of like a physical loss, because I was demolishing people. But mentally, I was losing. Emotionally, I was losing. Which is, and this is weird because Find Your Peace and How to Find Your Peace are two of my popular episodes of this podcast. They're two of the popular episodes. Find Your Peace is the first episode, and How to Find Your Peace is like right season 1 going into season 2. And what I don't understand, if you hear a lot of answers, because I got heartburn real bad, I got to pause a lot. What I never understand is I feel like people aren't taking. If you still competing with me, you must didn't hear exactly what I said. And I'll get into the healthy competition in a minute. But in Find Your Peace, 2015 was one of my roughest years. It was a pivotal moment within my life that was going to be a catalyst for change. I went through a lot. One of the biggest things that I was going through was, my son. My son was in the hospital. My son was getting a spine tap. I had to make funeral arrangements for him. Not to mention, I was also reaching service limitations as a corporal. And this is my gripe within the military all the time is, my merit is based off of other people, but my promotion is based within my MOS. And what I mean by that is that, X, Y, and Z person, we compare ourselves amongst these people, but we forget sometimes we don't even fall in the same MOS. So although I may be in the reality sense better than you, we have two different MOSs that have two different promotions speeds, and you might actually get promoted more faster than I do. And it's not because of your skill. It's just the MOS that you fall under. I really need somebody else to hear that. That is not really your skill that got you here. It's the fact that you fall in a fast promoting MOS. You see what I'm saying? Or somebody else falls in a slow promoting MOS. That is lesson 1 of why you shouldn't be competing with anybody. Before I continue with the story, that is lesson 1. That a lot of us get so caught up, and I say us because I have been victim to this. You see what I'm saying? A lot of us get caught up in this idea of competing with somebody, but you don't even know their circumstances. Like you wondering why you're losing the battle when you don't even know the tenacity in which this person is about to perform at, like the velocity in which he's about to perform at. You don't even know how long he's been competing. You don't even know what he's competing in. You just see his success. You want success, and that's it. You don't even know the details of it. So that's why you find yourself always on the losing end, mentally and emotionally, wondering why you're not as successful as this person. When you're playing basketball, this person is playing football, and y'all wondering why the pay difference. Y'all wondering why the points is different. Y'all wondering why the techniques is different. Anyway, kind of got distracted. Let's move on into the story still. As I'm talking about this being such a big moment within me, I'm around a lot of my peers. And as I'm around a lot of my peers, you know, I needless to say, and I will say this, I was one of the better corporals, if not one of the better Marines on that deployment. I was definitely one of the best corporals on that deployment. But this is the thing that I need you to understand, is that I faced so much adversity on that deployment. I'm talking about, like, you got to think about it. This is 2015. I got NJP'd. I got in trouble in 2013. You know, so if you put me up for a board, I'm losing to somebody that's not even half of me. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't have adversity on their records. You add that to the fact that I'm watching people get promoted to the rank that I need to get promoted to in order to stay in. And I bet somebody's wondering, well, why didn't you just wait your turn? I'm pretty sure your promotion was going to come up. That is very true. That is very true. Unfortunately, at the moment, my promotion was closed out, and it had been closed out for a year. So while every month everybody was getting promoted, we weren't. We weren't getting promoted because our scores were closed out. And when you get it closed out, that means that nobody's getting promoted for a year. You're going to stay at that rank. And the thing is, nobody cares about what's going on within your rank. I mean, within your MOS. It's the bigger scheme. So needless to say, here I am going through a fucking anxiety attack all the time. Needless to say, I'm upset. I'm depressed. And the problem is that when you get so hung up in competing amongst other people, these are the emotions that come with it. You know what I mean? I remember being in 2015, standing in people's promotion ceremonies with a look of disgust. I was disgusted because I would say shit like, why isn't it me? When's my moment going to come? Oh, that's not fair. He's a piece of shit. I should be up there. Why isn't nobody celebrating me? Why do I have to continue to wait my turn as we sit back and watch this piece of shit get promoted? Ain't that a bitch? And these were the thoughts, to the point where I would just stop going. I would just make myself busy during those times because I just couldn't stand making myself sick. Then they would say, fall out and congratulate the Marine. I wanted to spit on my hand before I shook theirs. I wanted to. But I tried to take the high road, knowing damn well it was killing me inside. And some of y'all right now, y'all killing yourselves inside because you continue to lose the battle with you trying to win a battle against somebody else. You continue to lose the battle with you trying to win the battle with somebody else. You so worried about being more successful than the other man, you're not even successful with yourself. You can't even find successful within your circle. You cannot find successful within your niche. You cannot find success within your craft because you are continuing to look on the outside. And the problem is that, see, the thing that a lot of us don't understand, and this is the second lesson I want you to understand right here, is that the negative emotions that come within it. See, transparency is a hard pill to swallow. It's a hard pill. Reality is a hard pill to swallow. And a lot of us need to swallow the pill of transparency and reality. A lot of us need to just go ahead and just say that the reason why we're unsuccessful is because of us. We're the reason why. Like, it's no one else's fault that you're not here but you. I know damn well that back then I couldn't see it, but I can see it now. That the reason why I could never win a board is because I was the one that caused that bullshit back in 2013. I'm the reason why I'm in trouble. It ain't nobody else's fault. Regardless of my skill level, I put myself in a situation that would affect me down the road. I had to take that. I had to swallow the pill of reality that although I can't stand these people and although I am better, I'm not in the same MOS as they are. That we are in two different MOSs. You can't get mad at them because their MOS is promoting and yours is not. But that's the thing, is that you meet people people look at your success and wonder why theirs isn't where they're supposed to be. And rather than take a step back and figure out why they're not where they're supposed to be and wonder and try to put the pieces to the puzzle to get to where they need to be, they look at you with envy. They look at you with envy. They look at you with jealousy. They look at you with disgust. Or you might be the one that's actually doing that with somebody. You might be the one that's trying to invalidate their success. You might be the one that says shit like, oh, it's because she's a female. That's why she got promoted. Oh, it's because, you're not a real Marine without an NJP. Oh, it's because he did a whole bunch of MCIs. Oh, it's because, it's all this other dumb shit. But in reality, it's honestly you. Very seldom is it any outside source that causes our downfall. It's really us. But moving on into the story, once again, as we continue with the story. So here I am on this deployment. And although I come home, now you really got to understand, my frustration really comes to the fact that I had been a corporal for by that time, 3 years. It was 3 years as a corporal. That wasn't, I'm going and I'm making leaps and bounds into other things. You know what I mean? Like I'm already in my second enlistment and I'm still have not been promoted. So when I finally get back to the States, I see my family. I hug them and everything. The reality is still, I'm not promoted. I'm holding my son who I had not ever seen. The one that I was supposed to be making funeral arrangements that survived. Rather than embrace him, I'm so caught up in the idea that I'm not getting promoted. Do you see how disgusting that sounds? Do you see how, now that I say it out loud, it's fucking stupid. I am holding my son. You know what I mean? I'm holding my child who I had not seen. And for the past 5 months, I had to make funeral arrangements because he wasn't going to make it. I had to prepare to attend a funeral to a child that I didn't even meet yet. This child, this boy displayed so much strength, and I'm not even recognizing it because I'm so caught up in the shit that's going on within me right now. That's really the idea of what find your peace is, that when you don't find your peace, you will always be distorted and constantly in chaos with yourself, to the point where you cannot even enjoy the things around you. Things that you will never be able to get back. You weren't even able to mentally attend them because you're so hell bent on competing with somebody else. You're so hell bent on treating this thing like it's a sprint, not that it's but it's really a marathon. You know what I mean? So here I am holding my child with my oldest right there. And all I'm worried about is getting promoted. I wouldn't get promoted. I got back in August. I didn't get promoted till about 4 months later, meritoriously. Well, not meritoriously, but it's a whole, that's another story. But the thing that I want you to understand, and this is the message that I want to convey, is that one, your time gonna come. You see what I'm saying? Your time is going to come. But the problem is that we get so caught up in this idea that it's a sprint and not a marathon that we're so in a rush to get to the next point. But you in such a rush to get to the next point, you forget things. You miss things. And then this is the thing though, is that you're not even just rushing to get to the next point. You racing with somebody who's not even in the same lane as you. I remember that entire experience, that gut-wrenching experience, and I allowed it to just, when I got to becoming it affected me 1 time, 1 year. I lie. It affected me. I'll say it came back up a year. Yeah, a year. And that's when I finally had to make peace with it. I really had to make peace with it. That the only person that you need to compete with is yourself. Literally, the only person that you really need to compete with is yourself. That's why Find Your Peace is such a powerful episode. It's not because it's my first episode. It's because of how powerful that episode really is. Because a lot of us aren't at peace with ourselves. So if I can't give you anything, and this is the last gem that I really want to give you before, we go into the second part of the episode. But if you are so worried about competing with everybody else, you are going to miss things about yourself that would have made you better than everybody else. Oh, let me say it again because it came out a little jumbled. When you are worried about competing with everybody else, you will miss things about yourself that actually makes you better than everybody else. All right, now, as we go into the second part of the episode, this is the reality. This is the present future of me still competing with myself, making peace and finally moving forward. See, a lot of people, one thing I don't like about social media is that it does distract you. Social media can be a big distractor, and I try to tell myself, you're in control of the situation. Make sure that you don't get distracted by this, but it does. And I have found myself in situations where I'm like, damn, why don't I have so many followers? Why don't I have as many followers as someone else? Or, my craft is a lot better than theirs. All they're doing is this. I've been guilty of that. Let's have a moment of transparency. I can be guilty of that. You know what I mean? To see somebody else flourishing in their own craft, it makes you wonder, is this even the right craft for you? You see what I'm saying? As you see somebody else successful in their own lane, it makes you wonder, dang, should I go ahead and get in their lane too? And I thought that. And as I was sitting back thinking that, I really want to just take a moment and just tell everybody that the podcast, Extraordinary Thoughts for the Ordinary Mind, the podcast has made it into the top 5% of Buzzsprout podcasts. But yeah, like I was saying, for those who don't understand, Buzzsprout's podcast, first off, let's just break down the hosting. Buzzsprout is one of the biggest hosts of podcasts within the community. So you have imagine iTunes, Apple, and all of them. Those are the music streaming giants. Buzzsprout would be one of the podcast host giants. So this is the home for our podcast. My Extraordinary Thoughts for the Ordinary Mind, lives in Buzzsprout. But I'm actually one of the top 5% of podcasters. And we actually average, and you're going to love this, we average in the last 30 days, 2,535 downloads. Holy shit. In 30 days. In 90 days, it was 10,000. In 1 week, I averaged last week, I averaged 1,000 downloads. And these are wow. When I say it out loud, it's amazing. It's amazing. So it put me, that put me in the top 5% of podcasters. I didn't realize that. And this is the thing, this is why I was so happy that I got that email to let me know that, because the thing is that, I'm so hell-bent. I'm just so distracted and busy worried about somebody else's success. The universe had to remind me, first the fuck off, you're in your lane. First off, look at your success. You don't realize the power that you have or how powerful you are because you're so busy focusing on somebody else. You gonna miss your gift. You gonna miss your gift. Let me rephrase. You gonna neglect your gift trying to mimic the gift of somebody else. Some of y'all are really powerful creatures, but you seem like a mortal because you're trying to imitate somebody else. I don't think people ever understand that. That when you compete against other people, you judge yourself based on their values and their merits. The problem with that is that even if you win, you only do something that is important to them. It's not to you. Even if you win, you don't win. You know what I mean? You didn't win. So when I got that email, it really grounded me. It grounded me and it focused me back in my lane. It told me, why the fuck is you worried about what so-and-so does on YouTube? Why the fuck is you worried about what so-and-so said today on Instagram? It said, why the fuck is you worried about why so-and-so got promoted today? It said, why don't you take a step back and focus on the podcast that was dedicated to helping you become a better version of yourself? Let me rephrase that. You talk about becoming a better version of yourself, but you continue to keep losing to the old version of you. Shut the fuck up and focus on you. That's what that email really said. It didn't have numbers. That's what that email really said. I don't know who need to hear that one, but that's really what the email told me. A lot of people, one of my favorite, and this is as we close. Oh, wait. I did say that there is good, healthy competition. I said that I wouldn't bring that up before I closed the episode. But there is such thing as good, healthy competition. Now, I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm always one side on one thing. You see what I'm saying? But there's a difference between healthy competition and toxic competition. I spar with other people. And to be honest with you, the only reason why I'm even sparring with some of these other people is for the simple fact that I can't do the shadow clone jutsu. That's an anime reference. Go Google it. But it's because I can't make another me. If I can make another me, I would just be sparring with me, to be honest with you. But in that sense right there, sparring with other people to fine tune your craft, 100%. Exchanging thoughts with other people to become better, 100%. But the idea of trying to become better than somebody is when you're going to lose. You're always going to lose. The moment you stop focusing on bettering you, I really, as I switch gears into the last portion of this episode, this is what I really want to leave y'all with. I have a bigger problem with the success that I did not receive on Friday that I had on Monday, vice the competition of being with you. I really want somebody to understand this. I don't care if I lose a battle with you, if I lose a fight against you, if I lose a tasker against you, if you get better this than me. I have more of an issue with the fact that I was successful on Monday, but here it is Friday and I'm not as successful as I was on Monday. That shit would bother me all weekend more than you. Honestly, you will be an afterthought to the fact that I'm wondering now why. What the fuck happened Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and why am I not successful on Friday? I really need y'all to understand that I look at the episodes for Monday and Friday and I'm like, what the hell happened? Why isn't Monday's episode better than Friday's? That's me. That's the competition amongst myself. I don't look at somebody else who speaks better than me. I don't look at somebody who's in that niche and say, damn, man, I wish that I could just have their following. I wish that I can have their message, because this is the thing, is that I've realized that my message is for me and my message is for whoever needs to hear it. And the universe just uses me to vocalize what they need to say. One thing that I want y'all to leave with is, do me a favor. I never send y'all anywhere, outside of, go follow the, the podcast and, go buy the book. But one of the greatest speeches to me, and this is what keeps me grounded, is the speech with Matthew McConaughey. And some of y'all probably have heard it before. Matthew, he gets up there, he wins an award. And as he's winning an award, he says, the person who I want to be like is me 5 years from now. No, and as he was saying, he was like, 15-year-old me is chasing 20-year-old me. 20-year-old me is chasing 25-year-old me. 25-year-old me is chasing 30-year-old me. And as I get to each age, I'm never the person that I want to be. I can never be that person. But it's good to know that I'm chasing them. And I don't know who needs to hear that, but that's really how I feel. That my mentor, who I strive to be like, is me 5 years from now. When this is all said and done, when I look back and I see myself 5 years from now and I am still in the exact same place, I fucking failed. If I could jump 5 years from now and find out that I'm still fucking in this goddamn closet recording, I fucking failed. If I could jump 5 years from now and find out that I still only have a book out, I fucking failed. Like, if I have not reached my dreams, if I have not perfected this craft, if I have not finally became the version of myself that I was destined to be, moving on to the second level of that version, I fucking failed. And I don't know who needs to hear that. But if you ain't better than who you were, then you fucking failed. Fuck the fact that everybody else is in their own lanes. Let's really take a step back as I close this episode out. If you were successful on Monday and you did not outdo yourself on Friday, you fucking failed this week. That's how you should be walking into this. Not, oh, fuck, so-and-so got promoted and you didn't. Who gives a fuck? You don't even know what the fuck so-and-so's plan is. But you know what your plan is. You know what your gift is. You know what your craft is. You know what your goals are. Stop letting all these distractions remove you from the plan. Put your head down and chase your goals like you said that you was going to do when you woke up this morning. And just like that, another extraordinary thought left this ordinary mind. I hope you enjoyed this episode half as much as I enjoy making it. Stay tuned Mondays and Fridays. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Meech Speaks. Once again, that's Meech Speaks. Meech is spelled MEECH. Don't forget to share this podcast, subscribe to this podcast, follow this podcast, pass this podcast to somebody, because this podcast was dedicated to helping everyone become a better version of themselves. Even though I don't know what that type of version is, I just know that you can be better. Lastly, don't forget to grab your copy of The Extraordinary Thought from the Ordinary Mind, available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. I think there's an electrical copy. You know what it is. Stay hungry, stay motivated. I'm out.